Hey everyone, my name's Justin Batista, and this is my partner Harrison Edge. Excuse my voice today; it's a little raspy, feeling under the weather, but we're gonna push through. So today we're walking you through our Smart Fox Capstone portfolio. Our company is First Coast Facility Care. It's a facility service vendor operating in the Jacksonville metro area. Over the next 20 minutes, split evenly between Harrison and I. We're gonna show you exactly what we built. 10 accounts, 12 opportunities, just over 1 million in total pipeline value. And we have two hero deals that tell the real story of how this territory like actually plays out. All right, for this first slide, here's like a quick context of the business. First Coast Facility Care provides commercial cleaning, event turnover, and facilities to support hospitality, healthcare, education, and event venues across Jacksonville. Excuse me. When Harris and I sat down to figure out how we'd break into this market, we didn't start with a spreadsheet. We started by asking who in the city genuinely needs like a reliable facilities partner. The answer was everywhere once we started to look. A downtown hotel scene that lives and dies by how clean it is, ballrooms that look great on a Saturday night, or even like a hospital system that can't afford a single missed cleaning cycle in a surgical wing. Or even, for example, too, like a public elementary school trying to stretch a tight summer maintenance budget. These are kind of all the different businesses that we found that could use our services. And then why Jacksonville works as a territory. Well, Jacksonville works as a territory for us because it has real anchor accounts in hospitality and healthcare, a strong base of smaller commercial accounts that need occasional or seasonal help, and enough competitive density that we'd actually have to sell, not just show up and sign paperwork. So for Jacksonville as a territory, we split the 10 accounts between us, five each, and we built a pipeline that reflects how how real facilities and services reps would show up, and spend a quarter. Whether that's protecting the big relationships, chasing a few new prospects, not being afraid to walk away from the deal that, stops making financial sense. All right. And then these are our 10 accounts. Um, so I took the two biggest anchor accounts, the Hyatt Regency Jacksonville Riverfront and the Baptist Medical Center Jacksonville, because those are the relationships a real rep protects above everything else. High touch, high revenue, and already under contract. From there, I picked up two, mid-tier prospects I genuinely, have to compete for, and those two accounts were Calford Chop House and Marriott Jacksonville downtown. Both currently served other vendors and one smaller, budget conscious account, Central Riverside Elementary School, to like, really round things out with something more opportunistic and seasonal. But yeah, so I took the two key accounts, and then we also have the two mid tier and the smaller. Harrison had all five key mid accounts from the Double Tree by Hilton, the Florida Theater, ViStar, Wolfson Child, and the Glass Factory. So yeah, those are the 10 accounts, two reps, three tiers. All right, for slide five. So every account really needed, real buying center depth, not just like a single contact. Because in real business to business sales, the person who likes you isn't always the person who signs you. Uh, Take High as an example. Marcus Whitfield, the general manager, ultimately approves anything over 50K, but he's not who I talk to week to week. That's Renee Castiello, the director of facilities. She manages the day-to-day relationship, and she was actually the one who came to us directly about renewing. Then there's David Okafor, who runs events and catering. He cares about something completely different, how fast we can turn a ballroom over between bookings. And Prira Anand, she's in finance. she's the one who can quietly slow a deal down if the pricing doesn't add up. So pretty much mapping all the four roles out was the difference between I called the hotel and an actual account plan. So you can see that there's the four different people, and they all have different roles, but they each have different specific roles. Like um, I don't talk to Marcus every day. He's a general manager, but there's the day-to-day champion, the influencer and user, and then the gatekeeper, and they all work in different ways. Okay, and then these are a full pipeline slide. So we had 12 opportunities across the combined territory. So on this slide, we can show you the different accounts, the opportunities, the stages, and how much the pipeline was. Uh, so here's the full picture uh, across our combined territory with 12 opportunities, roughly 1.77 million in total value. About 830,500 is already closed won, and 62,000 is closed lost. And just under 185,000 is still open and active negotiation or pending internal approval. I want to walk through two deals from my side that tell the most complete story of how a real sales cycle plays out. So for slide 7, this is the hero deal one. So Hyatt Regency annual contract renewal was $185,000. This one was as clean as renewals get. Renee reached out directly to asking to renew, which meant there was no reason to run her through a full discovery process she didn't need. So I used SmartFox skip stage feature to jump straight from prospecting to proposal. It's not cutting corners, it's reading the situation correctly. The deal moved through proposal and negotiation without much friction and closed one, which was awesome. Excuse me. Oh, all right. My voice is slowly going, so I appreciate y'all sticking with me. But yeah, so this slide is the hero opportunity, the first one. And then I'll show you the hero deal two. So the Hyatt Regency ballroom expansion, it was an add-on, it was $62,000. This deal's a little bit more interesting, honestly. David wanted a dedicated event turnover crew after a client complained about scheduling delays. So we scoped it out and we put together a proposal. But once it hit Prira's desk in finance, she pushed back. The pricing was too high relative to the value. Instead of holding firm, we went back to need analysis. We rescoped the offering and came back with revised numbers. That's a real backward stage move in SmartFox, not a mistake. Even after fixing the pricing, Hyatt ultimately decided that Adam wasn't a budget priority for this fiscal year, and the deal ended up being closed loss. I think that's actually a more honest example of sales than a clear win. When I was putting together this opportunity, not everything's going to be perfect in sales. Um, it shows we can handle the objection well, and you can still lose at the end of the day, which is constantly happening in real B2B sales. There's so many different factors, and usually at the end of the day, it comes down to money. And sometimes, the numbers can't be right, even if you do everything in your power to make sure it's the best it can be. So, yeah, I appreciate you guys listening to my portion of the presentation. Uh, I know it's probably hard to understand because my voice is gone, but I'm going to hand it over to Harrison now to walk through his side of the territory and the data. So thank you guys so much.
Thanks, Justin. My name's Harrison Edge, and I'm going to be going through kind of the accounts I handled and how we use SmartFox and just how we got all these accounts, how we got from every stage of it, from the needs analysis, proposal, negotiation, to, to the closing the deals, just everything step by step and how we did everything. So on my side, I took
Harrison, just
DoubleTree.
not to cut you off one sec. Whenever you want me to go to the next slide, just let me know. I'll click for you.
So, yeah, you can go to the next one. So, first off, the accounts I took were DoubleTree by Hilton, and the Wolfson Children's Hospital. Those were two existing accounts. So, being hospitality, a hotel, and then a hospital, both of those use technology every day. Both of those are companies that, they need, the latest technology. They need stuff up to date, and they need stuff they can rely on. Um, so, just one second. So, DoubleTree, starting off with that, it's a super busy hotel in Jacksonville. Um, everything from reservations, guest services, communications to customers. They need the highest technology, the most reliable. Um, so that's a relationship we already had an existing account. So we wanted to make sure that was one of the ones that we kept. We kept the relationship there. And we got them what they need. With Wolfson's Children's Hospital, that was another existing account we had. They rely heavily on dependable technology, being from everything from communication to stuff with patients. They just needed a long-term relationship that they could count on. And healthcare organizations, they typically have larger budgets than most companies, so they can take the higher grade technology, the stuff that's going to be more reliable, more dependable for the long-term aspect of things. And then for the three new prospects we got the Florida Theater, the ViStar Credit Union headquarters, and the Glass Factory. So all of those accounts offered a lot of opportunity for growth. The Florida Theater, they regularly host concerts, performances, community events. So organization like that, they rely on technology for everything from ticket sales to event management, communications, customer service. It just seemed like a great prospect because they were always going to need to be up to date with technology, and they were going to need, dependable that they could count on where they can get everything done. ViStar Credit Union, that was one of the biggest opportunities, in my opinion, for new accounts, because financial institutions need technology for everything from CRM, to data, to putting, clients' information, everything to do with money. They needed secure, good technology that they could count on. With them having multiple locations, lots of employees, and with the security requirements of everything that goes into financial institutions, money, and all that. It just seemed like an account that would really benefit us in the long term. Be a reliable one and one that we can constantly generate revenue from. And then the last one, the Glass Factory, they were a smaller account, but one that offered a lot of opportunity for growth. They needed their venues need technology for everything from scheduling to customer communication to support that everything in the venue's running smoothly, everything's on track. Then again, they were a smaller account, but I felt like this was one that had a lot of opportunity for growth and one that could really benefit us in the long term. And across those five accounts, we created opportunities for each account. Every opportunity included contacts, activities, going through the stages, and just getting all the information we needed so that we know where we were in the process with everything and how to go through each stage in the process and really be able to communicate effectively, close these deals, but also, maintain the relationship we have for existing accounts and, grow the relationships for the ones that, we are new to. Um, so hold on, yeah. So how we use SmartFox, one of the biggest advances of SmartFox was how it kind of standardized the sales process. With SmartFox being one of the biggest AI tools for sales, it really helps out through every stage of the process, knowing all the information. Um, so instead of allowing sales rep to move opportunities forward whenever they felt good about it, SmartFox milestones makes them complete questions first so they know exactly where they need to be at in the process. The milestones acted as checkpoints to make sure you're making progress, you're at where you should be in the process, and that everything on the customer's end is going smoothly. And for example, we had to identify whether we meet the actual decision maker. Talking to someone who isn't responsible for the sales and the decisions, it's just kind of just really a crunch in time for the process. So if they weren't making the final decision and the opportunity wasn't moving forward, Smart Fox allowed us to see who we needed to get in contact with and who would be making that decision. We also had to confirm whether the customer really understood our solution, what we were offering for their problem, and the pricing behind that. If they don't fully understand the value of what we're providing and the price that goes with it, then the sales process just would really fall through on both ends. Um, so another milestone during the Smart Fox process was understanding the customer's timeline, when they wanted these technologies, when they needed to have them, what they needed to have at certain times. Those pieces of information really kind of created a complete picture of the opportunity rather than having to rely on assumptions of, when they needed stuff, the time manner they needed it in, and just going throughout the whole sales process. So, a great example is the Hide account. During the project, we discussed situations where an opportunity might skip stages or move forward or backward. At first, it seemed kind of negative, but in reality, it's a good thing for pipeline management, being able to see where we're at and where we're going. If new information shows an opportunity isn't far along as it was originally suspected to believe, then we could kind of move it back, keep the forecast accurate instead of just guessing on the pipeline and guessing on the timeline of things. And that's really what Smart Fox was designed to accomplish. It encourages honesty rather than optimism and trying to guess where you're at in the whole sales process. So, rather than asking, do you think this deal will close? We were able to kind of ask, what evidence do we have that provides or proves this opportunity belongs in the stage that it's in? You know, is it where it needs to be, and are we good with where it's at? So, from a sales management perspective, it creates much more reliable forecasting, better coaching opportunities, and stronger accountability across the whole sales team. So, moving on to what we spent our majority of our time on, when we reviewed the activity reports, one thing became very clear, and that was just following where we were at on the timelines and the pipelines. Two of our largest accounts, Hyatt and Baptist, each had five or more recorded activities. These activities included everything from phone calls, meetings, emails, follow up tasks, and all the customer interactions that go along with that. And the larger opportunities usually require more communication because they're often, multiple decision makers, more questions that are going to be asked, and the sales cycle tends to be a little longer. So, uh, what the data tells us right here, we were able to close wins 77% of our deals, 17% of them were still open, and 6% were lost. So, a good sign that the relationship, is working and everything's going smoothly, being that we closed 77% of our deals. And the forecasted growth depends, entirely upon three open deals. If they're stuck for the same reason, we need to figure out what's holding us back, what's not working, and how we move forward from there. So, another Baptist surgical wing expansion is sitting at the finance desk waiting on budget approval. So that's something that Smart Fox is able to help us through navigating what we need to do to get that deal passed along, get it moved forward. You can go to the next slide. So, right here we have the Baptist Medical Center. the Calford Chop House, and the Marriott Downtown. And these are the three accounts that were open that we really need to kind of work on through the process. Um, like with Baptist Medical, we were close to closing. We just needed more information, more emphasis on the budget timeline. With the Calford Chop House, we needed more discovery time to find out exactly what problems they had and where everything was falling short. And with the Marriott Downtown, same thing as Calford. It was just competitive pricing was an issue, and just not getting them to, really key in on that reason to switch. You can go to the next one. So what this project taught us is that the hardest part wasn't creating the accounts and trying to hit the minimums. It was making sure everything stayed consistent from our process from start to finish. Contact, their title matching their role, figuring out who's the decision maker, who we need to get in contact with for what. Uh, a stuck deal, if something's not moving on the pipeline how it should be, in the time frame that it should be. We really learned how to get that moved on, how to get past those points of being stuck, and SmartFox really helped us with that. And we also learned that the real skills a sales manager needs is not just entering data, CRM, all that stuff, but it's looking at the pipeline and determining, how it should be run and where everything needs to be on that pipeline. And it allowed us to be able to go back and kind of look at how we did things, and be able to say, okay, next time we can do this different, we can do this different. And it really just overall it helped out the whole sales process. SmartFox and Salesforce are two great tools to use throughout the whole process. And overall, I think it really helped us get these deals moved forward and close, on 77% of the accounts we had, and be able to really just get everything done in a timely manner, but also be able to be successful with everything we did. So that's all I got. Thank y'all for watching our presentation, and yeah, you got anything, Justin?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you for everyone listening, and I really appreciate it. So that's all.